do have like a proof of concept support for Tezos, and some work was done for Solana. And technically, with atomic swaps, you can trade like anything. We plan to add support for NFTs, so you will be able to like swap NFTs to crypto. And if you will go crazy, you can imagine the system when you can, I don't know, trade your house like in atomic swap.
Like, I don't know if like we're still in the Wild West to the point where like we can continue without these regulations and safety standards in mind, because it's very important to secure your money. Like the banking system, they have to abide by all these rules, and like would that stagnate innovation is my main question. Welcome to another episode of the Medallion Excellent podcast. Today I'm here with Anton Lysakov from the Komodo Platform. He's the COO of Komodo, and today we're going to learn all about Komodo Platform, the blockchain, and everything that they've been doing since its inception up until now. So, Anton, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. So hello everyone, and thank you for having me. Happy to join this podcast, and yeah, I'm looking forward for some good time spending with telling more about Komodo and what we are doing.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds exciting. So I've always been a huge fan of Komodo because they've been always one of those leaders in innovation. Like you guys were one of the first blockchain platforms to do atomic swaps and actually like get it to work. And you guys just been leading in so many different ways. Could you explain like the philosophy of Komodo and like where that cutting edge leadership comes from?
Sure thing. At first, thank you for the good words. And yeah, it's where everything started, because initially, like when the Komodo project and idea was born, our founder JL777, he faced a problem himself. He built on NXT platform. It was like 2014, 2015, this years. And once he built applications, like many of them, like the apps. And on some point, they broke backwards compatibility. So his applications actually stopped to work. That's how the idea of Komodo was born, like to have the platform where people will not be scared to build things, to have freedom. And moreover, like Ethereum platform started to get traction. And the concept behind Ethereum is that when you create an app, you're super tied to this Ethereum ecosystem because you have to pay gas fees, and you cannot control the costs really, because for example, if you create the application in the early Ethereum days, it might be 1 cent per transaction, but as Ethereum price is growing up, the transactions costs are growing as well, so you really cannot control the costs of your application usage. So that's where main points of Komodo vision creation and Komodo manifest creation by JL777 when he started this project. So, and as you said, like try to take the leadership and innovation in many areas, such as we do have a depot technology which can protect proof of work blockchains with a hash rate of another blockchains, and this way you kind of reutilize the energy which is using for mining and protecting of hash rate blockchains. Right now, like the market a bit changed because when this technology was introduced, there was a huge demand for proof of work blockchains. But yeah, now it's not that huge, so market is not that huge. Another thing we worked on actively besides the depot is smart chains. So where you can easily run your own blockchain, like independent completely with the Komodo software. And another like a pillar or main technology is atomic swaps, as you said. And right now it's our main focus really, because it's our most mature product and to which we created the user interfaces, and it's third generation already, because the work started in 2015. So
you guys have been a blockchain since 2014 or 2015, like as an official blockchain?
Actually, this year we did celebrate Komodo birthday, Komodo chain birthday. It was on September 13. It was the 6th anniversary, and blockchain was launched in 2016, September 13. Was a Genesis block.
Okay.
So, but actually the idea was born like in the late 2015. And guys in the team, like most of the guys are kind of veterans and around like since 2013, 2014, like early BTC days, and Bitcoin talk.
Mm-hmm. So that's a lifetime in blockchain world, because you guys have experienced like multiple Bitcoin halving events, and when you guys released around the same time the Ethereum released, like around that time.
Yep. Around that time, and like Binance was not there, and all this AMM hype was not there. So by my eyes, I was able to see, for example, this ERC20 ICOs boom. When top 100 coin market cap, almost like 80%, it were ERC20 tokens collected from ICOs. But if you open the coin market cap right now, you will not see it. Maybe basic attention token, and that's it from these times. So that shows us that what really important is technology and value which it brings to the people, not the hype.
Yeah. The hype like comes and goes because you guys were really hyped at one point, and then it's just up and down, just like the price of the token. So what's the most that the Komodo token was worth, and like did it make a difference to like your funding? Like were you able to invest more in building the product because the token was at a high price, or because it's distributed amongst your users? Like, did it have like an impact?
Oh, actually, the KND price doesn't have an impact on our funding, because initially, like we've collected an ICO like in 2016, so we have these funds, and as well like. We get in some like operational revenue because we provide like consulting, providing some white label solutions of Atomic DEX, and we are looking for more revenue streams in the future to be more safe, and because bear market after bear market, but we do survive, and we're doing quite good actually. Because this year we hired around 10 new developers. And expanding our team. So we're doing good.
That's interesting to know because I have aspirations of launching a token as well. But I do observe that like a lot of blockchain projects, they get taken down in the bear market. Yet you guys were able to like survive all these bear markets. Now, is that because you distributed your revenue streams and you have multiple ways to generate revenue? That's not just that's not just dictated by like your blockchain work, or is it like your blockchain work integrated with other methods of like generating revenue?
Yeah, I mean, like we are at first we are trying to operate as effective as possible, do as many things as possible. This not a huge team, like because some teams like collecting getting VC money or collecting ICOs, then they're starting to burn money a lot. Hire a lot, and we concentrate on doing things effective way. And as well, as I said, we are doing some consulting. And we have technological partnerships. Which brings revenue. And as you said, like when you're launching a new token or in general, like a new project, it's, I think, like same in traditional business, right? You should think how I will earn money, or from where will I get funds, like in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years. And yeah, actually we do have like such plan right now. But at first we want to build matured and tech behind which will be useful like for mass usage, because recently hack coming after hack, especially this AMAMs, let's say, this liquidity pools, it's people losing millions, and just because not matured enough, not tested enough software is pushing. But our philosophy is different because we care about the users a lot, so we want to make everything as secure as possible, as tested as possible, not just use some proof of concepts in production.
Yeah. So going to the security aspect, so you guys like you run your blockchain, but you kind of let me see if I can explain this. Like you attach like the hash rate to Bitcoin or something like that, because Bitcoin uses a proof of work system. So yeah, could you further explain that?
Sure. So that's how Depot works. So it's at first there are. Let's start. All right. So 75% of blocks in a Komodo blockchain are generated by special nodes. We call them notary nodes. There are 64 notary nodes. They generate 75% of the blocks, and another like a 25% of the blocks generating by usual miners like pools, usual equipment, ASICs, GPUs, etc. And these 64 nodes, they elect in every year, like holders, KMD holders electing them. There's an election process. You get a special voting token, and you're sending it to the candidate's address. And yeah, if you're lucky, you are elected. And then you will need to run a special software through the notarization season. So what this software do is writing the state of all secured blockchains. At first on the hash of the states, it's writing on the KMD blockchain, and then like the state from KMD blockchain is writing into Litecoin blockchain right now. Actually, we switched from BTC notarizations to LTC notarizations because like a few factors. Like the first factor is a financial factor, because we burn like a lot of money on the Bitcoin fees. And another factor is that blocks on Litecoin are faster. That means we can do notarizations faster. So it's kind of checkpoints. You're writing the information, and then like the daemon of protected blockchain can validate this information. And if something going wrong, it reverting to the real state which was approved by notary notes. So
you pretty much you lock information on two blockchains, and then I guess you check that information like on your blockchain and also on the Litecoin blockchain, and if there's like an inconsistency, then you reverse the block. Is that how that works?
Yes. Yeah. So imagine the case like you started your own proof of work blockchain, and for example, you just mine on your like own equipment couple ASICs. So 51% attack costs nothing. Like on your blockchain costs like a few dollars or so, or like a few hundreds. The best. So it's better to rely on the Litecoin, because it's not that simple to perform a 51% attack on Litecoin. It's almost impossible actually, because there's no such available hash rate on the free market. So yeah, you're writing like a state of blockchains on the Litecoin, and yes, then if something going wrong, if something is performing a 51% attack, notary node system will detect it, and yeah, blockchain will be reverted to some proper state. That's how it works.
That sounds
overview for sure.
That sounds cool. So, in all your years of like using this method, like what have been your results as far as security? Like, has there ever been any type of like breach or close to a breach or anything like that?
Actually, if I get a question correct, sure. Actually, we've prevented like a few real like 51% attacks and protected like a real money, like its market caps are huge, so it's millions of dollars, and it really worked, and it just worked.
Cool.
There were like especially a couple years ago, there were like some guys like read like about 51% attack and saying like, oh, that's so easy, like, and then they wanted to prove us like that they wanted to perform 51% attack, but they were not able to, and they gave up.
Nice. So like on this podcast, there's a lot of people from a lot of different disciplines, so I like to define terms. So could you define what a 51% attack is?
All right, so 51% attack is, in simple words, like when you do control 51% of the hash rate in the network, you can pre-generate like your own blockchain, like your own block, pre-generate your own blocks, and then you kind of push the state of your own blocks. You generate blocks as you want, and then you push in it as a real state. So you kind of rewriting blockchain as it's yours, if to say it's simple.
Oh, okay. So, I was speaking to a cybersecurity expert the other day, and we were talking about blockchain, and he mentioned that quantum computers and that whole thing is a big threat to blockchains, because it can break the encryption algorithm that they use. So with this method, like, does that protect Komodo from quantum computers, or what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, actually, we did some researches on it's called Litecoin, I think, the way to protect the blockchain from the quantum computers. But actually, the main threat is, at least as far from my understanding, like, the main threat is that when you reveal it your public key for your address, like when you reveal the public key, the quantum computer will be able to find the public private key combination, like to generate like a private key for the public key. That's the main threat. Right now, like I think no blockchains in existence, like in production, are secured for that. But yeah, we did some research, and we had like a proof of concept of like a system resistant to the quantum computing. So as more and as soon as this problem will become more actual, I think we'll make the needed actions to protect. But yeah, I'm actually not like deep in the details of the system and how it works. But
No,
I know we do have something around this topic.
Mm-hmm. But That's good to know that you guys like are aware of that threat and you're coming up with like a solution just in case it becomes like a real deal. Because, my response to him was that, although this is a threat and theoretically this can happen, to date it hasn't happened. So, unless I'm wrong, unless there's something that I don't.
But yeah, maybe, with such powerful quantum computers in the wrong hands, maybe the hacking of the cryptocurrency is not the worst thing which can happen. And it's already somewhat close to singularity, actually, and you can do much more harm, than just gain the cryptocurrency, because you might crack the computer systems, crack current hashing algorithms, and it's using not just for the crypto, right? I don't know, even for web, HTTPS, or all the private keys on the servers and stuff like this. You can humanity, in IT industry in general, when such computers will be on the market and will be available, we'll need to reconsider approaches to the cybersecurity, completely.
Okay. All right. Well, so obviously you guys have a very secure blockchain at this moment. Probably more secure than any other blockchain because of just the method of writing the state of your blockchain to Litecoin and checking it based on Litecoin. So if someone was to hack Komodo, they have to hack Litecoin as well, and hacking two blockchains at the same time would be probably impossible. But your other main product is atomic swaps. Can you tell me how that's been impacting the market?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because Atomic DEX is our main focus for the last couple of years. We're putting a lot of resources into it. So let's start, I think, from explanation what atomic swap is in general. So I will start from a simple case. Let's say I do have a Bitcoin, a real Bitcoin, and you do have, for example, I don't know, Litecoin or Dogecoin, and we are sitting in a bar, and we decided to exchange. I exchanged Bitcoin on Litecoin, and then the question is arise, who should send the funds first? And because maybe we see each other for the first time. That's why the atomic swaps concept was created. It's a protocol which secures such trade. The protocol will ensure that after I send you Bitcoin, I will get my Litecoin back, and you will just not run with my money. Initially, this concept was described by Tier Nolan, I think, on Bitcoin Talk in early days, 2014 or so, and then GL777, he started to work on it, on implementation of this idea. That's how the first generation of our atomic swaps technology was created in the early days. Then was created the second, the barter DEX, and after that we ported this barter DEX. It was written on C++ /C. It was ported into Rust, and now it's called in the Atomic DEX. It's actually the protocol. It's totally agnostic because, as you know, this automatic, these AMMs and liquidity pools, they usually connected to the single chain. You, for example, deploying the smart contract on Ethereum, then you are able to exchange the tokens on the ERC20 tokens on Ethereum. And this kind of multi-protocol exchanges, they were working as routers, connecting multiply single protocol exchanges. So there are many risks, many moving parts, many of things which can go wrong. But Atomic DEX is agnostic from protocol because behind there is a network of P2P nodes. And it works kind of similar to Bitcoin network, from ideological perspective. Anyone can run his own node, and you cannot shut down network like if one node will down, let's say. And and the benefit is that anything can be traded with anything. I mean, like if it's supported by our protocol, but we do support around 99% of the currencies in the market. And there are both pros and cons. So right now, for example, we do have 500 of assets listed, and if every asset is tradable with every asset, it's creating the thousands of markets, thousands of possibilities of how you can route your trade. And the problem which arises is that it's not that simple to provide liquidity for thousands of possible markets. If you want to operate, if you want to provide the experience similar to these AMMs, that's a challenge, like one of our main challenges actually, which we are solving. Yeah, it'll be there.
So by 90% of tokens, like what token types or what coin types are excluded?
All right. We do support, like at first, all the Bitcoin forks, like a BTC itself, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and another like a BTC forks, Ethereum protocol and ERC20 tokens, and all the like EVM forks, like because there are so many, like Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, now it's appearing more and more like Moonriver and Harmony. They are almost copying one-to-one the Ethereum, and we're just deploying like a same swap smart contract on every EVM blockchain, and it just works. And right now we're integrating the Cosmos, and their like ecosystem, IBC and Tendermint. Actually, tomorrow we are heading up to Colombia on the Cosmoverse event to present our Cosmos integration to Cosmos community. And we do have like a proof of concept support for Tezos, and some work was done for Solana. And technically, with atomic swaps, you can trade like anything. We plan to add support for NFTs, so you will be able to like swap NFTs to crypto. And if you will go crazy, you can imagine the system when you can, I don't know, trade your house like in atomic swap. Because I know like there's a company, let's say, who provides a HTLC solution for fiat. You make an atomic swap with a bank. There's a protocol.
That would make sense. Like you can do an atomic swap for your house because your house is could be an NFT asset, and you trade it for the crypto of your choice of the same value. That's your house. So that would make sense. And so the NFT atomic swap, it definitely sounds interesting. It sounds revolutionary. Like, could you go more into like the NFTs and what you guys have in place around that? Because this year and last year was like the year of the NFTs. So it's starting. It has taken off, and it's starting to like really establish itself as like a new way to generate value.
All right. Right now it's on a proof of concept stage. So we just did some place, and we mostly worked on mock-ups of how it will work like from the user perspective. Because every new feature we want to integrate, it's challenging for us because we are pioneering this, and there is no some solution on market which we can just copy paste into ours because there are no productional ready atomic swaps exchange. And so what we are thinking on this point, it will work like quite similar to our existing solutions. You just putting your NFT on sale, like setting the price. Then when somebody match your order, you are sending crypto, receiving NFT in return, and it's in your wallet. And it should work. It should work. Yeah.
Cross chain for every single chain. For most chains, 90%.
Yeah, definitely, because protocol it's completely agnostic, from the blockchain. So it will be, you will be able as well like to send, I don't know, Bitcoin to get NFT on Polygon blockchain, or like send Ethereum to get NFT on Binance Smart Chain. It's completely agnostic and creates a lot of possibility of interconnecting things. That's our goal, to connect and tie all the blockchains and ecosystems value between each others. Because sometimes challenges without solutions arise even in my life, you know. Sometimes I need to exchange BTC, I don't know, to Cosmos, like to Atom token, and I don't have any platform like to which I can go and exchange it. I need to use centralized exchange, and yeah, it's already starting to become more tricky, especially with like harder regulations in this field. And
yeah. So as far as regulations, like, has that impacted Komodo in any way? Like, have you guys had to change in any way?
Right now it does not like it does not impact us, because our products are non-custodial, so we do not like store any user funds. There is no any accounts because it's non-custodial. You own your private key, own your money, and they're trading like operating by all this order matching and order books, operating by P2P network, like which run by people. On this point, no, but landscape changing quite often. Like recently, they wanted to regulate the non-custodial wallets as well, but let's keep it. But we are ready, and as soon as there will be changes, we will react. We are keeping in mind that because it's changing quite fast, the regulations, but so far everything seems to be good.
Good. So what's the optimum way to structure a blockchain company? Because you guys been around for a long time, so I'm sure you have some tips and tricks to structure a blockchain company to last for the long term, as opposed to these companies that like die every single bear market. How are you guys structured? Like, you don't have to like tell me anything you don't want to tell me, but like just generally, like, how are you structured so you can like withstand these bear markets and the ups and downs of the market as well?
I mean, like, I think there's no some universal advice, but yeah, best advice I can give, I think, always control your costs, and always find for the ways to get revenue, and prove your ideas that they are available, like, to the people, and try to get as much feedback as possible. And I think there's no some universal advice like how to build this thing. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there, so besides because I know, like you just mentioned that, you're working on the NFT to crypto atomic swaps. Are there any other plans for the future for Komodo that you guys are excited about?
Sure. Our roadmap on this year is super busy. So our main product, which will launch in October, I think, publicly, is the Atomic DEX Web. So we are so far we do have an Atomic DEX interfaces like on top of this protocol for the mobile and desktop, like native applications. But now we are going into web, it will be our for Komodo huge step, because we never did production ready web products yet. So we want to connect this Atomic Swaps world where we live with Web3 world, which evolving pretty fast. So it's running like a real P2P node in your browser, and you're operating as a Atomic DEX network participant, and you'll be able to trade, run it on any device where is a browser. That's my product. And as well, there are some few key features we are adding, in terms of security. For example, many users want to use hardware wallet together with Atomic DEX. So we almost completed the Trader hardware wallet integration, and as well we are working on the bringing more benefits and tie more the value of KMD with the value and success of Atomic DEX, because it's quite challenging. And as a first step, we plan to add the possibility to pay taker fees, trading fees in a KMD. That's one thing on the plate as well. And yes, right now we are adding the Cosmos ecosystem, as I've said. And yeah, we are preparing for a huge launch actually of Atomic DEX Web, I think, because last couple of years we mostly operated in the background. We tried to polish our tech as much as possible, to add as much as possible features, collect the feedback from our community, from our alpha and beta testers. But now, like a puzzle starting to combining, like things starting to be in place, and we will focus on our user base expanding, and yeah, that's the plans.
So with Ethereum, they did the merge recently. So because they changed their base consensus algorithm, does that change their integration with the Komodo Atomic Swap, or is it just the same thing?
No, we're agnostic. To us, most important thing is that like the EVM works same as before, so like a smart contracts executing.
You still there?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know.
Some connections issues, huh?
Yeah, but we're good. Let's continue. Yeah.
Awesome.
Talking about
So we talked about Ethereum, right? So to us, most important is that Solidity smart contracts will execute same as before, and the blocks will generate same as before. I mean, it's not that really matter how block was generated. For Atomic DEX, it matters that it was generated and the swap transaction was included in the block. So yeah, but it's actually very challenging as well, because since anyone can quite easily add his asset into Atomic DEX, into our interfaces. It's super easy. You just have to perform Atomic swap, open the PR with a proof of completed swap, and then open a simple PR into our GUI repository, because it's open source. And the challenge is that we cannot control all the infrastructure, and every asset will have an infrastructure behind. So there are this hard forks topic is quite tricky, because sometimes a asset can hard fork or change some consensus rules, and we are not aware of it, and it's challenging. So I think developers should be as well responsible for informing us that something is changed, so we should update to protect the users. But Ethereum is not the case. Everything runs.
What's your opinion on, because you guys use delegated proof of stake, right? Is that what it is? Delegated proof of stake? Komodo's consensus algorithm?
No, Komodo consensus is delayed proof of work.
Delayed proof of work. I'm sorry.
Default, yeah. So it's it's all about mining. And yes, it's 25% of the blocks which are generated by usual miners, pools. They just mine on ASICs. It's just proof of work. And the just difference is that 75% of the blocks are generated by these elected notary nodes, but they also just mine. It just special rules for them that when it's your turn to mine, a difficulty to you is low enough so you can mine it on your CPU. Okay. So it's technically it's proof of work. Okay. There's no staking, but you can launch with the Komodo smart chains. You can launch your proof of stake blockchain if you want, or you can launch the mixed consensus blockchain. You can even specify how many percent of the block you want to be generated by proof of stake, what percent of the blocks which can be generated by proof of work. For example, you can make it 50-50 or like 90-10. It's super flexible.
Oh, so you guys, I didn't know you guys offered that service. So you can launch your own coin on the Komodo blockchain and choose which consensus algorithm you want to use, whether proof of stake, proof of work.
Yeah, you can, and you can actually tune a lot of parameters, block time, special like emission rules like halvings, everything, and you can launch it super easy. I mean, it's just a console command. You don't need to be a coder. You just launch the console command in one node, and on the second node you're launching the command which connecting to the first node, and you have a blockchain. I think it would take like 10-15 minutes to launch a blockchain after you read the documentation for sure. And we do have like some projects in our ecosystem, such as Tokyo, like a Marmara chain. They launch their own blockchains.
So how does the Komodo proof of stake blockchain work?
Actually, you should need coins, like to have your stake. Then you just executing command. Actually, you need to run the full node. That's a bit uncomfortable for most of the users, like to run the full node. And then you just executing command, like set generate rule 0, and it's starting to stake actually, and you mining blocks with your stake.
So in Ethereum, like they have validators in place to check, how good or the quality of each block. Do you guys have validators in place for your proof of stake?
Like every node, behaves as a validator. Actually.
So there's a lot of new things going on right now in the world of Web3. There's the metaverse. There's AI. AI is doing generative art. That's like a killer app. Everyone is excited about Midjourney and DALL-E 2. What's your take on these other emerging technologies that's not the blockchain?
I mean, so far, like most of the things which I see are on some proof of concept stage. So I don't have a strong opinion on most of them actually until I will be able to touch it or like utilize in my life, or until I will see how it will change lives. Because many of such things, as you said, the metaverse, it became a buzzword really to many people. And if I will ask now 5 people like what metaverse really is, most probably I will have a few different answers. So to me personally, it's not 100% clear yet like how it will work in a real life, this metaverse. But definitely right now what I feel is that people and humanity in general, they are separating because there are people like who are super far from internet, like from cyber world, living like a usual life. So most of the things we are discussing with you, like they are super aware from it. And from another side, there are people like who are super deep, like in this IT and technology things. So real world like problems, real world things became more and more far from these people. So the kind of separation, because, for example, I do have friends, and sometimes who are not in IT, and sometimes I do feel like we live on different planets, because every day like completely different challenges arise, and like a computer kind of became a part of my body, part of my brain, and so there should be something what will connect these worlds, or maybe like migrate the real world into this virtual world. It's quite interesting process of how humanity evolve right now, actually, because the progress is super fast. But since we live like in capitalism age, a lot of these emerging and new technologies are about money raising, money earning, but I've seen not that many real life applications, and so quite difficult to say what I think, because I don't know really.
Yeah, I can accept that, because the metaverse, it's been a big thing as far as a concept. Pretty much this year, a lot of people have been talking about it, but no one has actually delivered a metaverse, and if they have, there hasn't been enough users to really validate if this is like a viable way forward or not. So yeah, I can definitely see that. But I do think that the metaverse includes blockchain, and what I mean by that is that there's going to be all these different assets that you can pay for in the metaverse and interact with, and I think the easiest way to do that is with blockchain as opposed to with a credit card, because you can have these tokens, and based on something that you like let's say you're in this open world and you want a new weapon, it's easier to probably like send a Ethereum to get that weapon and just atomic swap, because chances are that weapon is going to be an NFT, because that weapon, that's the easiest way to like really transfer value. So I think going forward, blockchain has a huge role to play in the metaverse. It's just we don't see the full picture yet, so to like really judge everything that's going on. But as far as Komodo, like, what has been like a really big event that has really stood out to you guys? That you're surprised you made it out of it. Like maybe it was like a really tough time, or maybe it was like a great time that you're excited that you went through it.
There was like we recently been on AMA's Binance, so there was a similar question. I like our CTO's GM response, Kenan. He said about the Agama hack. I'm not sure like if you heard about this story, but at some point there was a vulnerability in our wallet, which sent seeds of our users like to the hacker, but we actually detected it faster than it was exploited, this vulnerability. So we hacked our own users, and were crazy, crazy times, and most crazy thing which happened in this space. It was like a Komodo, like a cat on me. And it was super scary, because it's proved like that here you have a very huge responsibility for your users, and it changes like our approach to many aspects, because you should be like super careful, especially when the project is open sourced. You have to validate all the contributions, because one mistake can put on risk like your users. And since it's like a blockchain, all the damage is unreversible, and the only way to retrieve the access to user funds, it's to have a private key. And actually, in Komodo I started as a QA, so I was always, and I still stressed a lot, because one single mistake can put a lot of risk. So it's, in my opinion, like higher standards in this industry are needed, to prevent hacks and stuff. It should be written similar to as software for airplanes is creating, or similar software for like a cancer treatment equipment, this particle accelerators. It should be super precise, and there is no, you don't have any right for the mistake, for the critical mistake, because people trust you, and Yeah, that's super important. But unfortunately, like a lot of projects, they're pushing stuff without needed preparations, and things turn out wrong. Yeah.
So you said like a lot of like what do you mean by a lot of like, you know, regulation is needed for or standards? Like what do you mean by standards? Like what are some suggestions to, you know, bring the standards up for
so in my opinion, some regulation is needed. So for example, software should not be allowed to use until it's passed some security checks, for example, or like every software, like their founders need to be doxed maybe. I'm not sure on it because it's quite tricky matter, because when you connect an open source software, but because usually people, they cannot check, like even if its source code is open source, they cannot check what's really going on. So the only things they can do, they can trust the vendor. They can trust the vendor, their funds, and when you trust the bank, you put the money in the bank, and if bank will be hacked, you are protected in most of the cases. It depends on the country for sure, but you are protected by government, so your deposit will be refunded. But here, like you trust to some, I don't know, like swap something with a dog picture with anonymous developers. You put in your money, and if something will go wrong, who is responsible? Your money just gone. It's making, you know, making industry reputation lower, and
I agree.
You'll be hacked once. You will tell anyone, like your friends. Your friends will say to their friends, "Hey, it's like it's not safe. It's dangerous." But I think together we should try to make it safer place, like prevent hacks. But there should be some consensus, standards, and procedures of what does it mean to be safe, and there's this industry is just maturing, right, and just evolving. So, but I believe there will be such things, because without that it will be a Wild West.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely is the Wild West. But I think, and I don't know if like we're still in that phase of the Wild West, because like crypto has reached, I would say it's reached mainstream adoption. Like anyone who has the ability to be in crypto, like can be in crypto. But like, and it's available everywhere. It's on TV, it's on the news and all that stuff, all over. So I don't know if like we're still in the Wild West to the point where like we can continue without these regulations and safety standards in mind, because it's very important to secure your money. Like the banking system, they have to abide by all these rules, and like would that stagnate innovation is my main question. Like if we have many rules in crypto.
I mean, like when you will start thinking that it's not a Wild West already. Remember the Luna happened like not that long time ago, and remember like how much money was wiped, and from the usual people as well. And funny thing, like I was being around like when the BitConnect happened. And now like there's the damage seems to be similar. I mean, like for sure it's like a different project, like reasons that are behind are different, but damage is quite similar. And it's since their holders and users were not protected, and it's kind of Wild West still. So you are responsible for all your decisions, like for all trust you put to the vendor, to the project, because no one will cover anything. Like government will not cover it. You're responsible for your actions.
Governments probably will laugh at you if you tell them you got scammed. Like, good for you.
If any of our listeners like affected by this Luna incident, I'm very sorry. deep of my heart.
Yeah, I've definitely been scammed. Like not by Bitcoin, but by like people associated with Bitcoin projects. Like, you think it's one thing, and it's really hard to verify like what they're saying, and then next thing you know, like they deleted their Telegram account. Lost all that money.
Yeah.
Like when I laugh, I'm laughing from a place of pain.
Somewhere between laughing and crying. Like sometimes I don't know, like should I laugh or cry?
Yeah,
It's so dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely because it's hard to verify. Like it's hard to verify anything. And you know sometimes like they're saying things that's true. But the way that they're interpreting it is like there's something off here. But you don't know until it's too late.
I mean, if you want to reflect on this topic, I'm not sure if you read, there's a Turing Award article by Ken Thompson. It's called like Reflections on Trusting Trust. And that's how he actually introduced the... he's a cybersecurity expert, and he actually introduced the idea that you cannot trust the compiler. And it's pretty crazy. So actually in a digital world, the real like a way to protect yourself somewhat, like to trust the vendor and ensure that the vendor is will have some legal problems if something will go wrong. Otherwise, it's quite dangerous.
So I have been curious. Does Komodo have smart contract capabilities?
No, the Komodo blockchain don't have, but there is like a proof of concept. It's called crypto conditions. So it's a proof, kind of smart contracts with UTXO model used. So it's technically it's not a smart contract, but it's a special consensus conditions which allows you to do pretty interesting things. Create your tokens or execute almost any logic which involving transactions. But it's quite complex because you need to be a C++ Bitcoin consensus developer, like to create your own like things or modify it. As well, you have with every change, you will need to change your consensus for your blockchain. So it's not that flexible as a Solidity, but it's actually it's pretty interesting, like a proof of concept. And a couple of projects were launched, like say Tokyo, like a Marmara chain. You have like a various coins. Is probably using some OCCs. They're like a separate project, Verus coin, but initially it was started as Komodo smart chain, so probably they use some of it. But it's not production ready. Like some of these models, like crypto conditions, we polished to allow the projects to use it in production. But it was a kind of, we tried a very interesting idea of utilizing non-standard like a Bitcoin script rules, like as a Bitcoin script was extended in crypto conditions. Mostly was a research work.
See the value in like do you see the value in maybe adding a smart contract aspect to Komodo, or are smart contracts?
Definitely. I do see a lot of failure of smart contracts adding, but from our side we can also build like around like at first like around the Atomic DEX, and then we will see like what to do, because right now it's quite hard to compete. There are so many ecosystems, and you compete even not with the technology. You can make the technology better, but you compete with their funding at first, and there's limited amount of people who are going to build something on blockchain, launch the applications on blockchain. So it's really important to be the first. Now, like everyone, like who wanted to build, like already found something, like such as Solana, like for example, like Ethereum. Somebody building on Binance Smart Chains. So it's quite hard to compete really.
I don't know about that because like people who are building on EVMs, right? But there's no really other option for like if you want to build on something else. Like if it has to be a Ethereum virtual machine if you want to build a product. So I think if you provide a separate solution that can probably, just like you said with the Atomic DEX, that can integrate with or interface with all these different coins, I think that will be a valuable and unique addition to the market. And one idea that I would be excited for is if Komodo can build like a MetaMask type of replication using the Atomic DEX. That way we can store multiple coins on our browser extension and interface with Web3 from that Atomic wallet, right? So that I will be excited for that if you guys can pull that off.
Yeah, that's in like the thing you've just described. It's one of our ideas as well. Like we do have something similar in our plans. Like after we launched the Atomic DEX Web. So yeah, I mean, that's more in our focus right now. It's like Atomic DEX and trading, the Web3, and keep connecting the value between existing like ecosystem like and applications, because there is a huge demand for that and huge market. And yeah, we did a lot of work already, which we want to utilize, and also we want to connect to combine in Atomic DEX like existing. For example, you mentioned the MetaMask, and we plan to add the MetaMask as a login option into Atomic DEX. And since we do support like a many ecosystem, like imagine you can log in with MetaMask and you get access to your EVM assets. You can Atomic swap them, or you log in with your Phantom wallet and you're using your Solana like in Atomic DEX and swap with like another assets. Or then you there's a browser extension wallet for Cosmos. It's called Kelper, I think. You log in with Kelper and operating your like Cosmos assets to have it kind of hub, and because it supports many protocols and you can trade everything with everything.
Imagine if like Komodo, for example, can make a wallet extension that you can switch between like the different chains. Like you can switch from Ethereum to Cosmos to whatever else, and you just like switch around instead of like having to have multiple wallets. And you can just combine all the wallets into just the Komodo Atomic DEX wallet, which would be cool.
That's a plan. That's a plan.
Yeah. So that and that's I would trust you guys to do it, because you guys are always like security first, and there's always been there's been some MetaMask hacks recently. Like I've been a victim of a MetaMask hack. I just checked my wallet today, and all my money was gone. Where did it go?
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry.
Where did it go? I followed the transaction. I'm like, what? Yeah. What did I could never send that. I'm like, just some random wallet has all my money, and I swear, like I don't give out my private key or my keys or anything. So I'm like, where did it go? How did that even happen? But I don't think that would happen with Komodo, because you guys put security first. So, that's why I really trust your really high quality products.
Thank you. But anyway, like my general advice, to you and all our listeners, when you are operating your funds, when you're managing your funds, you should separate as a cold and hot wallets. So the majority of your funds and funds which you cannot afford to lose, you should store in a cold storage, hardware wallet, or you can generate a seed somewhere, and write it in paper, but never use it anywhere, just store for storage. And the second wallet, it should be one which you use for applications, for some trading, like for your operations, the hot wallet. And this way, like you will protect yourself, so you will not rely on any vendors, like any wallets, or like because you cannot check everything, and there are always like no matter like even like if you pay like 101% of attention to the security, we like treat it super seriously. We review like all the dependencies we use, like doing security tests, and we like make huge external security review as well. But anyway, like there are always like all the software in the world, like creating by human, and human can mistake. Like a human are not robots. Like AI, I think soon AI will be able to write the code, but not yet. So you shouldn't like put all the eggs into a single basket. You always should use a cold wallet. And yeah, that's why it's one of our main priorities, like to add the hardware wallet support to bridge as well people like who are using hardware wallets, because it's very important like to use a cold storage, and yeah, for the small sums like for operations, hot wallets.
So I like the funds I lost was like it wasn't that much, but still I was like I can spend it. So let's go. But
yeah, it's always sharp when it's happening. It's like it's a feeling like that. I know that you are not safe, like feeling of unsafety. It's even sometimes it harms even more than financial damage. You're starting to become paranoid.
Yeah. Because like now I'm really paranoid. Like, and I'm like, yo, if they can, like, you imagine if I had more money there, like it'll all be gone. But anyway, yeah. So Anton, last 10 minutes, I'd like to give you the opportunity to promote anything that you guys have coming up, or anything that you want to promote, maybe like your social media links or whatever the case is.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. So yeah, at first I want to invite you into our community. You can open the Komodo Platform.com website and join our Discord community. So it's personally I like it a lot because most of the team is here. So any questions you might have, we are chatting, answering, and as well, I want to invite you to try and install the Atomic DEX, the existing applications, the Atomic DEX Mobile, Atomic DEX Desktop, and try, do Atomic swaps, share your experience, like any ideas of how we can make it better, or any bugs you will find, like highly appreciated. And, best ideas and bugs found can be rewarded with bounties. And soon we will have a Atomic DEX web launch. It will be our like combining of all of our experience and ideas, and we try to transfer it into the browsers. It's a huge step for us, so it will be highly appreciated if you will join the testing. In October it will be public alpha testing launch. And yeah, also follow us in the Twitter. The Atomic DEX IO and Komodo Platform. Follow me, and yeah, any feedback, any ideas, my DMs are always open.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, Anton and the Komodo Platform, for coming on our podcast, and let's stay in touch.